Alright, Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Shah, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, salutations to you brothers, pushing the word, sincerity and truth. This is like the third episode of our history and the law of the Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. And the first scripture we're going to bring out is Amos 9 and 11, because that's going to set the stage for the history that we were talking about.
This is Amos 9 and 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
Yeah, as in the days of old. Now, when we read the history, we consider what King David was doing in the days of old. Bring me that scripture out in Chronicles. First Chronicles. Because when King David had the Lord with him, he was taking down these other nations.
17.
Yeah, 17. He was taking down these other nations. He was taking out the Philistines, the Edomites, the Ammonites, the Moabites. He was waging war against them to set the kingdom up for King Solomon, and the Lord was with him.
First Chronicles 17 and 7. Now therefore thus shalt thou say to my servant David, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheep cote.
No, it's 18, it's 18.
18 and 7.
18 and 1.
18 and 1. First Chronicles 18 and 1. Now after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them, and took Gath and her towns out of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote Moab, and the Moabites became David's servants.
Yeah, because he was waging war. The Moabites was today, the Moabites would be the so-called Chinese. He smoked them, he smoked the Philistines, the so-called Africans of today.
Right. And he smote Moab, and the Moabites became David's servants and brought gifts.
And through the power of David that came from the Lord, the Moabites became King David's servants.
Verse 3, and David smote Hadarezer, king of Zobah, unto Hamath, as he went to establish his dominion by the river Euphrates. And David took from him 1,000 chariots, and 7,000 horsemen, and 20,000 footmen.
So King David took the spoils of war.
David also hewed all the chariot horses, but reserved of them 100 chariots. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to help Hadarezer, king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. Then David put garrisons in Syria, Damascus, and the Syrians became David's servants and brought gifts. Thus the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And verse 7. And David, and I'm gonna mention this point too that we mentioned in the car. We tried to do a video on the car, but there was problems that happened. The reason why the other nations was quick to give us gifts and stuff like that, why? Because we had complete power at that time. You know, like right now, the other nations, they look down on our people because we have no power. That's why they're quick to be up the white man's ass, because he's in power. But when we're in power, then they're going to be quick to give us stuff, okay?
Yeah. And that's written in the prophecies. The prophecy said we shall suck the milk of the Gentiles. These same things that we're reading in the history is going to happen again when we go to establish the kingdom of heaven again.
Oh, they bring out that point again, Isaiah 55 and 3. I'm going to just roughly bring it out. It talks about the sure mercies of David. Even the sure mercies of David. The sure mercies of David is talking about rulership. Because he promised that, Yahweh Shah was going to come up and rule, have an everlasting kingdom and rulership. So we're going to have the sure mercies of David. All right?
And King David became a witness unto the works of the Lord. So when we read these scriptures, the Lord was with King David to carry out the will of the Father, man.
First Chronicles 18, verse 7. And David took the shields of gold that were on the service of Hadarezer and brought them to Jerusalem. Likewise from Tebah and from Cum, cities of Hadarezer, brought David very much brass, wherewith Solomon made the brazen seat, and the pillars, and the vessels, and the vessels of brass. Now when Tob, king of Hamath, heard how David had smitten all the host of Hadarezer, king of Zobah, he sent Hadoram, his son, to King David to inquire of his welfare, to inquire of his well-being, right? and to congratulate him because he had fought against Hadarezer and smitten him. For Hadarezer had war with Tau, and with him all manner of vessels of gold and silver and brass. Then also King David dedicated unto the Lord with the silver and the gold that he brought from all these nations, from Edom and from Moab, and from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, and from Amalek.
Yeah, King David took many spoils of these other nations. The Edomites, the so-called white man, the Moabites, the Ammonites, so-called Chinese and Japanese. The Lord was with him to get all of these spoils, and he dedicated them to the Lord, man. That's what we're going to do again, Lord's will, man, when that time comes, man. You got some more?
Verse 12, moreover, Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, slew of the Edomites in the valley of Salt 18,000.
18,000 so-called white men were slain in the valley of Salt.
And he put garrisons in Edom, and all the Edomites became David's servants.
And he put military fortifications in Edom. Those were the good old days. You know how we talk about how the Edomites want the good old days to come back when we were in slavery. Well, those were the true good old days, man. When the so-called white man was in subjection.
Thus the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went.
So the Lord was with King David to carry out all of this violence, man. You got a lot of people that talk about how the scriptures are full of violence. It was a purpose for this to happen.
Right.
For King David's son to be established on his throne, man. Right. That's the only way we got 40 years of peace through King Solomon, man.
Sacrifices have to be made for peace. There's always sacrifices by blood for peace. It's always been there.
Now quickly go to Deuteronomy 20 and 11.
We're going to read the last one. Verse 14. So David reigned over all Israel and executed judgment and justice among his people.
Yeah.
All his people.
So King David basically was upright with the Heavenly Father, man. He executed the judgments, the justice in the name of Yahweh Bashim al-Shah, according to the commandments of the Lord, man. Got that Deuteronomy
20 and 8.
20 and 11.
Deuteronomy 20 and 11. And it shall be, if it make thee answer of peace and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee.
Yeah. All the nations that shall be tributaries. But for time's sake, we're gonna stop. Lord's well, we might revisit this. We might revisit the scriptures. We're gonna give all praises to Yahweh Bashim al-Shah, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone.